Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 12 of Uncanny X-Men from the Ashes, written by Gail Simone and art by Andre Bresson. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So with that said, this issue opens with a narration saying, "Mon cœur, my heart. She's sleeping rough tonight, lil spotlight. It's a worrisome thing, won't lie about that. If she toss and turns the wrong way, she'll put a hole in the wall the size of the blackbird. I'd wonder what she's thinking, except I'm pretty sure I know. I'm no perfect husband, let's make that clear, but I hate to see so much hurt on her face." And at that moment, Rogue sat up in her bed in a panic and immediately requested to speak to Jitter. And as she grabbed Gambit, she went on to say, "I ordered you to knock her off the tower, what was I thinking? She coulda got busted up bad. Who all does that to a kid? I can't, I'm not fit to do this." And to that, Gambit replied by saying, "I ain't saying we don't owe the girl an apology, but I want you to look out the window just a sec we." And on the next page, we see Jitter outside training her ass off, because that tough love Gambit and Rogue showed her lit a fire under her to get better, to improve. And as they looked on, Gambit tells his love that Jitter had been at this since 4:30 a.m. Now this caught Rogue off guard, because she said, "She's gonna get hurt, we'll have to make a rule. No trainees in the danger room alone." But that was where she was wrong again, because Jitter wasn't alone. In fact, on the next page, we see the rest of the kids out there too cheering her on. As they continued to encourage her, Calico mentioned how Jitter was going for 2 hours straight and how they should get her down. But see, that was the thing. Ransom pointed out that he tried, and it couldn't be done because, at this point, Jitter is a girl with something to prove. And Jitter wasn't the only member of their young team who wanted to improve, because even Death Dream stepped up to ask if Ransom could teach him to box. Which wasn't a problem at all, so as Death Dream rushed off to change his clothes and prepare for training, Calico asked Ransom if this was a good idea. To which Ransom replied with, "He's got a right to defend himself. Isn't that the point of this whole thing?" With that going down, we then see Rogue storming out of the house, yelling for Jitter to get down. And as she did that, Gambit continued to narrate, saying, "I love her, ain't no lie to dat. But when she uses that tone, even I feel a little ice in the spine. Go easy gal, you been a lot a bit rageful lately." Now instantly, Jitter froze up, as Rogue asked to see her hands. The same hands that were covered in blood and blisters. And with a deep heartfelt apology, Rogue picked up Jitter and said, "I'm sorry." And then continued to say, "Sophia, I've seen too many mutants hurt badly, too many die. When I asked Remy to knock you off the tower, I was trying to teach you about being hard. It wasn't the way." So with that out of the way, Rogue looked towards Gambit to apologize next, but little did she know, he was ahead of the curve and apologized the night before. Following that, everyone just started to hang out and prepare for dinner when Gambit noticed something off, something that was in his pocket that wasn't there the night before. Gambit noticed a note saying, "Your bill has come due, chow we, pay what you owe, signed by V." Now at this point in the issue, Gambit takes a small trip down memory lane as he started to narrate saying, "He's back. I wasn't quite wild yet, not quite feral. That would come later. I was a thief trying to be an angel. Nobody got fooled, no way no how." So as young Remy hunted for crawfish, 3 boys walked up and started to pick on him. In fact, one of them said, "This is the son of Jean-Luc LeBeau, guys. We're in the presence of royalty. Lou Diable Blanco himself. Maybe we should bow." To this, Gambit replied by saying, "Midas says I ain't supposed to fight Salvatores." But these boys didn't care at all, they even stated that Remy wasn't even a real Cajun. Now that was a step too far, for Remy stood up and said, "Go ahead." And at that moment, Gambit's narration said, "Didn't run, didn't beg. Didn't want to give him dissatisfaction. Also, back then, I was pretty good at being downright ignorant." And at that moment, those boys beat the crap out of Remy. They beat him so bad, that even his crawfish was killed. But following that beat down, we then see a man standing over Remy saying, "I'll say one thing about you, boy. You sure take a fine ass whooping. Me personally, I wouldn't take that talk about not being Cajun. There ain't enough of us as is, that we gotta hear trash like that. I mean your mama's honor, that's one thing, but being Cajun isn't nothing to joke about. You know who I am, boy?" To that, Remy said, "They call you the Vig, I heard him say. Used to enforce for the mink." To which Vig continues to say, "That's right, and now I work for your daddy. Want me to go snap a few bones worth of sense into them punks?" So as Remy laid there, Gambit's narration continued to say, "My adoptive dad, he had a lot of people working for him. Working under him really. They were all damn scared of the Vig. But he talked to me, not like my dad. like I was a man already. So as they sat there, Vig brought up how he heard Remy was one of the best thieves in all of Louisiana. Which was correct, because Gambit revealed that he indeed picked all their pockets and stole all their belongings. Following that, Vig said he heard that Jean doesn't allow Remy to fight. To which Gambit replied by saying, he says I gotta be in the Thieves Guild first. I got no protection if I hurt a kid from the Assassin Guild families. With that explained, Vig went on to say, it doesn't hardly seem fair. What if I told you I heard them punks say where they were gonna be tonight? You could get your revenge. Now this caused Remy to state, I can't, when Jean finds out. But before Remy could finish his statement, Vig cut him off and said, your daddy's on a job and gonna be gone a week. If I tell him you were with me and we didn't even see those kids then. With Vig's voice trailing off, Remy in surprise, asks if Vig would truly do that for him. To which, Vig replied by saying, why sure, we freaks gotta stick together. And at that moment, young Remy set off to get even, as Gambit continued his narration saying, did he mean my eyes, or did he know about this power I got growing? Didn't matter, I liked him. And when he took me that night to their spot and I knew I had an alibi, well, I liked him just fine. Lot of destruction, turns out hurricanes linger. And I went and found me a length of pipe. One thing about New Orleans, like the commercials say, it's accommodating. Gotta admit, it felt nice not to have to crawl for once. He'd do it, I could see it. That's when I knew it. I was bad, maybe troubled for sure, but there was evil everywhere, genuine evil. After the beating, the Vig, he came and picked me up. He then took me to get a late-night shrimp po' boy. No fancy tourist stuff, just pickle, lettuce, tomato, and mayo. He even said that he was proud of me. It was the most delicious sandwich I've ever had. But sometimes, the dirt doesn't wash off, I guess. Mr. Salvatore Sr., a captain in the Assassin's Guild, decided to go hands-on and teach me a lesson out in the open. But that wasn't about to happen, because Salvatore went on to say, your boy here ambushed my son and fractured his jaw. He earned him this beaten Vig. It doesn't concern you. That led Vig to say, yeah, see I beg to differ, just let me finish my sandwich, and just like that, the fight was on. And as the fight kicked off, Gambit's narration continued to say, my dad's men, they were tough. They were hard. But the Vig was a full-on step above. Like lightning he was moving, he was just laughing a minute ago, and now, he is laughing again. Only it doesn't seem so comical somehow. Those men were gonna hurt me, maybe permanently. I froze, I ain't proud of it, but I froze. So with no time to spare, Vig grabbed Remy and told him, snap out of it, we gotta get you out of here, someplace safe, until this cools down. They gon' be fine, I'm not gonna hurt him none, now go and run. And during Remy's retreat, Gambit's narration continued to say, I ran to a place that is said to be like a sanctuary for my kind. And once there, the owner of the house put me to work and fed me and didn't ask any questions at all. And as time went by, 2 days later, I read the paper saying, 4 known felons were killed at the cathedral. Heads ripped clean off. So with that going down, Remy called the Vig to see what happened. To which the Vig replied by saying, guess I got a little overheated, don't be mad, couldn't be helped. Anyway, I took care of your problem, you're now in the clear. And you know what that means, 25% that's the Vig. For the rest of your life, every dollar you earn you kick up 25% to me. I like you kid, but don't be late. So with that done, Gambit continued to narrate saying, so I paid, it shamed me, but it's the way of thieves. Nothing is ever truly your own. These ties go deep into the ground, into the graves of those who came before you. They say it's all about honor, but that's a lie, it's about control. So as Gambit walked up to the Vig, he asked the suited man to tell him what he wanted. To which the Vig replied by saying, I want what you owe me. I want what's fair. You got you everything. You live in a mansion with friends all over. You have a fine southern belle. Extra remoulade on that one. Where's my piece, son? Where's my cut? You got 4 new recruits. You got 4 new little freaks. I want one, you pick, then we are square. Now this was a complete no-go. So as the fight kicked off, Gambit continued to narrate saying, when you are with good people all the time, you forget evil's out there everywhere all around us. And then the weirdest thing, he came at me, tagged me a bit in passing. It hurt, in a good way. I woke the man inside up inside. Local crocs got all kind of parasites. They get on their skin, they get in their stomach. They bite the crocs, never stop. Tiny lesions on the skin and gastrointestinal walls. Little bleeding sores forever. That's what this life is like. I thought he was my friend, but he was just a parasite. And it turns out dirt does wash off after all, and looky here, he didn't see the dip this time. All those years, I never told anyone. carrying him on my back, paying him, face burning in shame every time. Then as Gambit stood over the Vig, he went on to say, I've called around tonight and found the Salator's kid all grown up. Not a bad fella really. It turns out he said you paid him and his boys to give me a beatdown. 'Cause you wanted me to owe you. Now that's just plain mean. I ain't gonna kill you, but the note is torn up and we're done. Oh, and I told old Salvatore where you'd be tonight. He seemed delighted to hear it. My advice is to run. With that all said and done, Gambit stated, turns out even nightmares get old. And the best part of going away, as always, is coming home. Turns out the Vig was right about one thing. I got myself a lot. A hottest gal, trusted friends, even Nightcrawler's murky beer. Young guns to pass something on to. You were right, I do have everything. With that coming to an end, this issue closes out with a woman meeting with the mayor of the city of New Orleans about some research on mutants that the mayor has to see. Now down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this.